right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Steaks with Mates. I'm your host, Health Coach Joff, and today's special guest, I've got a good mate of mine. His name is Alex. He's a physio, and we're both based here in Brisbane. I've actually had Alex on my YouTube channel in the past, where he's talked about his story. But for those who are new to this channel or those who haven't watched the video, please tell everyone who you are, what it is that you do, and what are we going to talk about today?
Cool. Yeah. Thanks. Good to be here, Joff. Once again, honoured to be on your channel. So I think this is my third time, I believe.
Third time, mate.
Third time. Yeah. So I'm a physio. I got into the low carb carnivore space probably about 4 years ago now. I think you first discovered me on Dave Mack's podcast, and I went on that podcast not necessarily to talk about my story, but more talk about the troubles I was finding with, doctors and referrals and, trying to get the message out to patients without, sort of tainting my reputation. And I was, just sort of finding that difficult. And that's the reason why I went on that podcast. My story is fairly simple. Just, I was overweight, unhealthy, started eating much better, and it just hit me how much diet plays a role in our health. You cannot be healthy and eat rubbish. It just cannot happen. So I was previously working for another company, and as of this week, I've just started my physio business. It's called Nova Physio and Rehab. Yep, and still in the setting up stages, although I have seen a few patients. Sorry about the lights in the room gleaming down on me, but maybe that's a higher power. I don't know. I think it's the lights. But
I reckon it is, mate. I reckon it is. It's a higher power, just shining down, warming you up for the next few years or however long you're planning to do this.
Yeah. I guess that means that I'll speak more liberally about what I think, and I'm not too worried about affecting anyone else I'm involved with the company. It's just me now, and obviously physiotherapy is my modality of treatment. However, I think that talking about diet is very, very important, and you don't have to have a dietetics or nutrition degree to talk about patients with food. It plays a big role in everything. So I'm definitely going to be talking to patients about what they eat, and I already do, and I've had a lot of success with people, and just little changes. So that's my story.
Awesome, man. Well, let's just go straight into this, because this is a new avenue for you. First of all, well done and congratulations on actually, opening up your own business and actually taking, I guess, your wherever you want to go in life into your own hands. I think that's very commendable. So just congratulations on that, and I look forward to seeing that flourish. I'm sure we'll talk about this more outside of this conversation, but that's really good to hear. But what sort of led you to this decision where I've got to start my own thing? Like, what's to go with that?
Good question. I studied physio, later in my adult life. I used to be a school teacher in my 20s in PE and music. I think I was telling you I do gigs and stuff. I always wanted to get into the medical industry, and I thought physio is what suited me best because, I was fairly sporty and I'm into exercise, and I thought physio was a good, well-rounded, pretty respected profession. Certainly wasn't an easy degree. It was quite stressful, but I got through unscathed and made some good friends along the way. I guess the first 4 or 5 years, I just sort of thought, well, I'm just going to try and build my skills up, build my reputation up, get some contacts. But the plan was always, even before I started studying, was to have my own business. And more I've realised that, this day and age, the way our economy is, you're not really going to get anywhere financially working for someone. And I think if you really want to do well and set yourself and your family up, you've probably got to go out on your own. That's if you want to be in private practice. There's obviously other avenues of physiotherapy, such as working in a hospital or working in retirement facilities. But in terms of the the private practice side of things, which is what I'm really passionate about. Um, I could see no other pathway other than to set up my own business.
Nice.
And it's awesome
Well,
in your own business.
you're your own boss. Yeah, I know. Oh, mate, it is a sense of liberation that you just can't, have when when you've got something that's yours and you're in control, you're in charge, and you're the pilot of, the ship. It's something amazing. And, I really can't wait to see where this takes you.
Mm,
But this, when you're talking about earlier, you talk to patients about diet and whatnot. Where did this all come from? Like, what made a physiotherapist like you just decide? I know you've got your own health journey that
mm,
that obviously you're going to mention that plays a huge part. But what is it that you see in your patients that you think, wow, we need to do something about the diet as well?
mm. There's lots of things, man. I mean, first of all, when you've lived it yourself and you can feel how much healthier you become, you can almost smell it on someone and see it in them when they're eating badly.
Yeah,
Um, Quite literally sometimes, but yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. I get you, man.
you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Uh, yeah, I think certain conditions, certain inflammatory conditions, which mechanics always plays a role. And I say to
Mm,
people, you know, the mechanical can become the inflammatory, and the inflammatory can become the mechanical. If you know what I'm talking about,
mm,
we're not talking about pain and joint pain, right?
mm-hmm.
And we know that inflammatory foods are just going to exacerbate the problem and make it worse. So people who aren't getting the results they desire through physio and rehab, you've got to start talking about the other things that are even more important, and that's diet, all right? But it's sometimes people just ask you questions. They like you, they think you know stuff, and then they just ask, "Oh, what should I be eating?" And I've got emails in the past saying, "Oh, this is what I eat. What do you think?" And I just I give them my 2 cents. But it's
Nice.
also, like I said the first time I spoke to Dave, the thing that irritates me the most is that if you ask someone about their diet, one of the first things that they will tell you is that I don't eat a lot of red meat because my doctor told me not to. And alarm bells just go off when I hear that. I've got holes in my tongue from biting it too hard. Yeah. But
Mate.
sometimes I just let it out. I just tell them that's bullshit. Don't listen to that. Your doctor doesn't know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Mm,
I
mm.
don't say that for everyone, but
Yeah, you've got to have some,
yeah,
good rapport with this client or patient, whoever they are, to
yeah.
obviously call it out. But I totally agree, man. It's very hard to, when you hear stuff that it's basically regurgitated information that is it isn't serving this person any good. Like obviously, avoiding red meat and stuff like that. It must be hard. Um, and I know personally, it's difficult, but uh, now that you've sort of got this business of yours, are you going to be advocating for, I guess, more so your views of not just diet but health in general?
Mm.
How's that going to change how's your practice going to change basically?
Um, yeah, well, it's still going to be just physiotherapy. I'm not going to bring on any you know dietetics or nutrition specialists if that's what you're getting at.
No.
But yeah, I think it's just going to be the same messages I've been delivering. However, I'll feel more confident, and I'll take more liberties now and really pushing my message forward.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
but yeah, I still have to tread slightly carefully, but as you do in your job.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah, man. I think yeah. Yeah. Sorry, go on, man.
I would say that's just like small changes, but it's still, I've got to be a little bit careful. But
Mm.
hopefully, next time we don't have to worry about this. We can just say, this is how it is. This is the
Mm.
way you should be, backed
Well,
by
that's it. I
evidence.
mean, it's already in social media. Like people know about the carnivore diet. People know about you know uh, different little like you know even these biohacks that people are talking about, like people know about them. Like it's become so common in social media that it's kind of getting hard to avoid. Except, I guess reality just hasn't caught up with everyone just yet. And I think uh, it's good to see that you've started to get more confidence and actually, I guess, not necessarily changing the way that you practice. I probably worded that a bit wrong, but more like in terms of how you find a way to deliver the message that you think is beneficial for that person. I think that's very commendable. I think we can all learn from that because a lot of people are stuck in our position, brother. Like we kind of feel, or like for me, I feel like I've got my hands behind my back sometimes. Like I can see that, well, this could potentially help this person. Actually, I know that a lot of people will benefit from the carnivore diet, but I can't say anything, or this is going to be crossing the line. So I think we've got to be creative in the way we do this. And for me personally, it's health coaching because, like I said, I'm in control. I got, this is my platform, all right, and I can tell you the way things are based on my health and what I've seen with my clients. Like I'm not forcing anything on people because who likes to be forced what to do? Yeah, like no one likes to be forced. So I think that's just the way to go, is just to lead by example. And you're definitely doing that, man. You're definitely doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think where we're going to possibly win is in the autoimmune disorders because I do have a few people that are they so-called eat really well. One that comes to mind is a lady who's a veggie, fairly vegetarian, and she's got terrible psoriasis.
Yeah.
But she's been told that that's just normal. You can't do anything about it. Like bullshit. Like it's clearly there's something wrong. And you just knew if she went on a carnivore diet, it would disappear. I think that's where we can get our wins in terms of just the general population. The first thing I say is eliminate all ultra processed food. Do that first. That's the best thing you can do. In terms of telling someone to go straight on the carnivore diet, that's a big leap, I guess. We know it's great, but a lot of people just won't do that. But I think it's the autoimmune disorders. That's where I think the research and the community really need to focus on in terms of solutions and winning the argument.
Yeah, agreed. No, I do. I think that as well. I think, like you said, not everyone wants to dive into carnivore, but ketogenic seems to be something that they're open to. So even framing it in that way, I know Dr. Chafee also frames it in a way that, a ketogenic carnivore diet or a ketogenic diet is going to help you with your autoimmune conditions or whatever it is, your chronic health. I think, No, I agree. I think we've got to frame it in a way that is digestible for people to accept and where I guess, I wouldn't say where the research is, but where we've got more of a backing, if you get what I'm saying. But I think that's really cool. So do you deal with a lot of people with these autoimmune conditions like this person you're talking about?
I mean, they're not coming to me for those kind of conditions, but you can see it on them, and they tell you.
You can see,
and then you're thinking, you don't have to have this. And I think, like, imagine if we got to a point, man, where it was just commonplace for someone with this autoimmune skin disorder or whatever. The doctor just said steak and eggs for 6 months. Imagine if we got to that point. But it seems like we're so far off that because people are still coming into me and saying that my doctor told me not to eat any red meat because it's going to raise my cholesterol. Like, man, it's so frustrating.
Yeah. I'm seeing wins though. Look, I have seen over the last year. I'm not going to say these doctors particularly promote like a particular way of eating, but I'm seeing messages, or maybe it's just because I'm on social media all the time now. I'm seeing more doctors promote ditching the seed oils, ditching the carbs, and eating more red meat. So I think, like, in a positive light, we're getting more people stepping up. Like, I interviewed Dr. Charlton on my podcast the other day, and she's she promotes the low carb diet. Yes, she's a doctor, but she's also emphasizing the importance of lifestyle. Like that's a huge win. And I think if we can just somehow, turn that tide over, I think it will, maybe not in the next 10 years, but later down the track, it will push,
Yeah.
people and the powers that be to decide we've got to do something about this. Because I don't know what your thoughts are around public health right now and how, these guidelines and these big organizations are still, promoting this, balanced approach or low fat approach. But I just don't think things are going to change in the next 10 years.
Probably not in
I don't know, man.
Australia.
What are your thoughts? In Australia? Yeah.
I think, yeah, the win we've had in Australia is Dr. Peter Bruckner, because he's a very high
Yes.
expenditure figure.
Yes.
And
Yes.
he's been a long-term advocate of the ketogenic diet. And I don't know what his thoughts are on carnivore, but I mean, let's face it, carnivore is just a ketogenic diet. It's just a very clean ketogenic diet. It's a very, very clean, very healthy. But USA, not JFK, RFK.
RFK, yes.
Talk about JFK later. I mean, we're getting wins there. So let's see what happens over the next 4 years with him. Like I was thinking that he was just going to come out all guns blazing, but that's obviously not the plan. I think he's thought it through deep, and he's like, I'm going to do this very, very slowly and slowly implement the things that I want. He obviously just can't just say, yeah, all fast food, all processed food, you're done, because it would destroy the economy, as we know, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be a very, very slow process, and getting the seed oils out of the food. Which reminds me, and I think I texted you this, that Diary of a CEO. What's his name?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
that podcast he did with that frizzy-haired British chick from Zoe.
Yeah.
That was abominable. You watched that, didn't you?
I watched bits of it. And I was honestly considering,
the comments,
making a.
They were just, the comments on there were so negative towards it, as they should have been. But you could just see him just thinking, "Shit." Most of the people I get on this podcast are saying the exact opposite to her, and everyone was saying comments like bought and paid for, which is probably exactly what it is. But she was coming out saying there's nothing wrong with seed oils. There's no evidence. Seed oils are fine. It's animal fats that are bad.
It's crazy.
That's what we're dealing with, man. It's almost like communism versus capitalism. Seed oils versus animal fats. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we're still getting crackpots talking about it today. I'm sorry, but they really are. If you think about the actual mechanics of how your body works, and when you look at seed oils, putting that into your system is not a good idea, considering it's quite highly inflammatory, and the way that it's made is I don't know if you've actually seen the videos of how seed oils are made. I don't think people would want to eat that once they watch these videos, because it's, there's nothing natural about it, mate. There's nothing natural about seed oils.
No, it's very, very artificial, and it's very much not vegetable oil as we know.
No, definitely not.
Not the vegetables, but it's definitely not vegetable oil. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Strange times we live in. I just had a thought to escape me, so I'll let you come up with the next thought.
No, you go.
No, it escaped me.
Oh, it escaped you. Oh. Well, sticking to the whole topic about politics and where the US is going. What's wrong with Australia right now? Like, where are we at in your sort of view? Because this is our turf, and I think we do need to stand up and actually. If we want to make changes with our health, we're going to have to look at it in the big picture, right? But what's going on here in Australia, man? Like what can we do to sort of change things?
We've got this incredibly large public service and bureaucracy. That's number one. And I think now 1 in 5 people in Australia work for the government or paid by public funds, which is insane. I mean, we're getting closer and closer towards socialism that we fought all these wars about not so long ago, which makes no sense to me. And when you have such a big bureaucracy and you have so much red tape, any kind of change is going to be very, very difficult. So most medical professionals know that the food pyramid's a lot of crap, but that hasn't changed. I mean, there's a food circle now, but I've seen, and it's not that much better. So we have to elect some sort of government, and I do not believe it's Labor or the Liberals that can bring in drastic change and change the size of the bureaucracy, shrink it down, more private enterprise, and let the market decide, I guess. So that's the big problem. But yeah, I don't want to get into too much about politicians in Australia. But
No, you're right.
I think that's the main thing, and we need free speech. Like we don't have free speech in this country. Some people think we do. We absolutely don't. So in America, they are protected by free speech. I don't think you could shout fire in a crowded theatre, but people need to come out and say what they think and not face defamation for it, which is what happens. They're the two big things that need to change.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It's going to be. I don't know what the answer is in terms of politics, but I do know that people like the way I look at it is that we need to funnel it down to the individual and start working with the people around us, because it's only going to start that way. And it's very hard to, I used to be very much, why isn't the carnivore diet known in the masses? Why, we need to get people, we need to get doctors, and we need to get politicians, everyone involved. I was very much for that. But I think now, 4 years into this lifestyle, I understand it's going to be the long game, and and that's why I do what I do. I want people not to feel like people are trying to force things down their neck. You have the right to make your own decisions, and so that's what I'm trying to push out there on my social media. I've got I guess, I don't know if you call it a saying, but I always tell people, be your own advocate, because no one else is going to do it for you. If the governments, the health system, they're there to help you. Obviously, we need those things, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you are the best advocate you can be for yourself, and I think we need to start pushing that message more. So. And
remember too, man, like, any kind of, contradictory thought that someone has, you're taking on the media, and the media are a machine and a monster. The Australian media is very, very biased towards the opposite side to us. Yeah. So you're right, man. It's going to take, a lot of organic growth and more doctors, more and more politicians, jumping on board for things to change. So we've got a real battle on our hands. But people like yourself, man, what you guys are doing is amazing. Like, it obviously takes a lot of balls to do what you're doing. Potentially put your careers and stuff on the line, so that more and more people can do it, and it grows. Then hopefully we can force public change.
Well, it's much needed, guys and girls. If you are living under a rock right now, I think it's time to get out of your shell and actually have a look at the world around you. You don't need to look at the statistics. You don't need to look at the science or the guidelines to know that right now, guys, public health is not doing so well. We're I'm sorry. Like, we've had advancements in medicine. We've seen improvements in our public system, in the way that we perform surgeries, and we've got so many things that we have made some progression. But when it comes to actual health, mate, you just look around in your shopping center, you look around in your grocery store, look at Alex's clinic, have a look at the people that come in. Like you said, mate, you're seeing people. You don't even have to look at him and ask him, what is your medical history? You can see it in people. It's disgraceful and it's very sad. But it's something that we just have to, I don't know. Yeah, we've just got to start by doing the little things. So, carnivore, keto, whatever it is, I think you're right. I think the approach has to be slow. It has to be gradual. Maybe not everyone's going to appreciate, being told you got to eat all meat to be healthy, but maybe simple messages. What do you think? Like, I guess out of curiosity, man, like what's the first step do you reckon someone, if you were seeing a patient for the first time and they asked you like, oh, well, what do I need to do with my diet?
Oh, I mean, that's a good question, dude. There's so many approaches. It's very, very hard to change people's behaviors and people's addictions. As we know, all the bad food is incredibly addictive. It's made that way. I say to people, the best thing that you can do to improve your diet is to, let's just say they work Monday to Friday, is to meal prep on a Sunday and prepare all your lunches and meals for the week. That is the best thing that you can do. Because what happens, and look, this week with my birthday on Tuesday, 35, can you believe it?
35.
I had a bit of a dirtier diet week. There's been stuff left over in the fridge that I need to eat. People taking me out for dinner. It was Origin on Wednesday night, went out.
Yeah.
I can just feel it. I don't feel as well. I've been going to the toilet a lot more than normal. You can just tell as soon as you stop eating well, you don't feel good. So I would say the best thing anyone can do is, whatever you do, like if it's make a big roast or you cook a whole bunch of steaks on the barbecue or chicken, and if you want to have salads or veggies, you can, and just prepare your meals for the week. So it means you're not going out and spending money, you're not going out and buying crap food, and you can just control. It's like you're doing a study. You have a control for it. You can control what you're eating, and then tell us how you feel. I'm sure they'll feel fantastic. They'll be richer because they'll have more money, and they'll probably start losing weight.
Awesome. That is pretty cool, man. I think that's a good place to start for a lot of people. For me, I always say there's going to be a terrible two that you just need to get rid out of your diet. You can do that pretty much immediately, but if you need to, just get them out slowly. Sugar and seed oils. So if you can, if you're not going to go down the route of cutting out sugars out of your diet, then at least, or one or the other, you have to try and cut them out. But I also say if it comes in a package, if it's not in a form that it once was, like let's say, I don't know, even canned tomatoes or whatever, or a can of soup, if it's in a can or a package, then it's probably best to avoid it. That I think it starts with that. Yeah, simple messages.
Yeah. I mean, I think that does work for some people, like saying cut this out. But I think for others it doesn't. So I think that's why I like the meal prep idea. But like obviously you want to design the meal plan for them. But that at least locks them in for the week.
Yeah.
They can't eat anything else because they've already prepared it. And if they leave in the fridge and don't eat it, then they're an idiot. They're just wasting food, right? But like absolutely no bread, no pasta, no rice, because a lot of those meal prep people, they use rice stuff. You don't have to, man. You just put more meat in there or put more eggs in there or whatever it is. Do that, and then just tell us how you feel. I'm sure you'll feel so much better, and then just continue.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, man. Well, who's making waves right now in I guess social media for you? Give us your top 3 people on social media who are sort of has helped you the most in your I guess being as a person or professional. It can be anyone. It doesn't have to be in low carb, keto, carnivore. It could be in physio.
You mean right now? Health
right
coach,
now, man. Yeah.
Health Josh is like the hottest going around.
Mate, I'm blushing.
Yeah. No, man, you're doing well, dude. And like, we'll come back to this, but I think, yeah, just, the YouTube videos and just pushing stuff out and, making your stuff just look better and better. I think that's where you're going to, get your followers, man. And it sounds like you're doing a really good job.
No, thank you.
Keep it up. Influential people, social media. Look, I'm a big YouTube guy. I'm more of a Twitter or X guy than an Instagram guy.
Yeah.
Where did I start? Ken Berry was probably the first guy I started really listening to. Sean Baker's really cool too. I just love watching these videos of him training in his house. Now, just how jacked he is. Like, how was he? Old is 56 or something.
He's bloody 56, and I seen him dunk a basketball. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Like,
that's inspiring for me because of the the physiotherapy sort of thing. Like, and I'm always telling people, like, as soon as you stop training, that's when you're going to start getting sick. Like, you never stop, and the body is so good at healing itself and improving if you're giving it the right things, right? So you got to keep yourself really mobile and fit. And for so many years, man, like, training has been in the gym. It's been like bodybuilding. Like, bodybuilding is a specific type of training, but it's not going to make you agile and fit and healthy and stuff. It's going to maybe give you big muscles, but it might
get
do
into this.
Right. So yeah, you got to watch people like Sean Baker and knees over toes guy, and you got to be watching those kind of people. And there's more and more people coming. That's the kind of training that the everyday people should be doing, because that's what's going to keep you healthy. If you want to be a juiced up bodybuilder, go for it. But that's not the advice that people should be giving people. Yep. That's a specialist type of training. But I think for many, many years, whenever people's been told gym, that's what they first think comes to their mind. They think, oh, big meatheads pushing all this weight in the gym, which is fine, but that's not what's going to keep you healthy. Yeah. So going back to the question, Sean Baker's cool. Chafee's awesome, man. I would say those three. Cool. Dave Mack's cool. There's a few out there now, isn't there?
Heaps, yeah.
Yeah. Physio influencers. I used to be into a few of them, but one of them actually died recently.
That's Andrew Locke.
Andrew Locke, yeah. I used
to
like a lot of his stuff. I was pretty sad when I heard that, like, because I still use a few of his like routines that I learned off him.
That was very all of a sudden too. I know nothing came out on social media. I think it was just, they kept that under the radar for.
Yeah, well, he was releasing photos of him in like the hospital because he had brain cancer, I believe. And I think he had tumor removed, but it obviously got the best of him. So yeah, he was a big influence of mine, particularly early on. I just kind of like how he just had that sort of no bullshit, mentality, and was all about, strength training and not telling people the wrong thing. And so I guess that's probably would be my influences.
Nice, man. Nice. Couldn't stick to the top three, could you? Had to chuck in. No, I'm kidding. It's very hard.
Well, I butted you up, so maybe how many did I say? That's 6.
You can take me out. That's all right. I don't care. Nah, look, you brought it up, man. You brought it up. This is an irk of mine. But you're absolutely right. When people think of the gym, there is this connotation or this, I guess, image that they see of these guys shredded six-pack, or either, big meatheads or bikini babes with, the big asses and it's like people, when I can clearly remember when I signed up to the gym, being so innocent to it all. I just wanted to do it for my health, as I'm sure 95% of the people do. They want to be healthy, so they go to the gym. But guess what? About a year into it, you're roped into, you've got to do it this way. You've got to train like this these are the machines that they've got in, everything is geared in the fitness industry to be towards, getting the ideal body, which is essentially a bodybuilder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Geared,
it,
geared, no pun intended.
geared. Oh man, we could go on, man, because this is,
Yeah.
like I said, this is an irk of mine.
Mm.
But and I've said this outright too. I would much rather the honesty from bodybuilders or people who are like, it doesn't have to be bodybuilders, but people who are into building a physique, to just say outright, this isn't natural. This is a specialist area.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't what you should strive for. I mean, you can, but I'd be lying if I said this was the healthiest thing for you. I've struggled to get myself under 10% body fat and, real puffy muscles. I can imagine like these young kids trying to look up to it and trying to get to that image. It takes so much. And I attribute a lot of the things that I've learned from the gym to my ill health that's led me to, having to be desperate, basically. How do we change this, man? What's the go? Like, how can we change people's minds on this?
It's changing. It's already changing, but
Good.
yeah, I mean, I can't see any reason why in the next 10 years the gyms shouldn't be absolutely packed, man. It is, particularly big gyms like the one I'm in, like, should be full of everyone. Everyone should be going to the gym. Everyone should be, looking after themselves, keeping them healthy. But there's just still so many people out there that are either slack or they're just terrified of the gym. I mean, there's so many people that I know who've been terrified of it, and then you take them a few times, or they do a couple sessions with a personal trainer, they get hooked, and then they love it. So it's just that initial breaking the ice sort of thing. But once people start to feel good and notice changes, it's just part of your lifestyle. So I can't see why in 10 years gyms should be absolutely packed. But they're not yet. I mean, they're busy, but they're not absolutely packed, and that's why I'm subletting from a gym here, because I can foresee in time that gyms are just going to get busier and busier.
No, that's good, man. All right. Well, look. Are there any sort of final messages or anything that you want to get out there to talk about for the viewers who are watching right now? Maybe some words of advice, I guess. To encourage people.
First of all, if anyone needs physio on the north side of Brisbane, around Lutwyche area, Nova Physio and Rehab has just opened in Good Life, Lutwyche. Shameless plug. Second thing, meal prep. Please meal prep. It's the best thing you'll ever do. That is how my journey started. I was meal prepping, and I did it the low carb way, and I went from this to this over maybe 2 or 3 months. It was so quick, and I was still on the weekend doing gigs and drinking beers, but it was because I was seriously, and I still may do that, but that's the best thing you can do if you want to get really good results. Definitely keep yourself fit, keep yourself mobile. Very, very important. Make sure you can do a deep squat. Make sure you can touch your toes. Make sure you can do a lunge. Make sure you've got good single leg balance. And make sure you've got good shoulder mobility. All those things are going to really, 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 really help. Get a gym membership, or find out what you can do or where you can go to establish a good routine. Yep. And then, just, do your own research, find some good influences, as you were saying before, and follow them, listen to them. The more information that you know, whether it's stuff that you don't necessarily agree with, is the better, because then you can make up your own mind about what you think is the best way for you to live.
Absolutely.
As RFK said the other day, he said, like, don't trust authority. Like they lie, and they lie for not everything, but they will tell you lies. And just because they said something, it doesn't mean it's gospel. Do your own research, make up your own decisions.
That's it. And you're never going to know if it's a lie or not until you start to, do your own research. Nah, awesome, man. I love it. Well, Alex, I don't want to take up too much of your time, brother. It's been a good chat, and I'm sure this is not going to be the last one. We are going to definitely catch up, especially on your business front, because I can see this, man. Well, I can literally see it just looking out my window because, it's not that far, but nah, it's good, brother. It's good to see and good to catch up. Keep doing what you're doing, and appreciate all the love and support. And for those who are watching, thank you all for tuning in. Please follow Alex in his social media platforms, which you said you're on Instagram. Oh, I know you're on Instagram, but you're also on the X platform.
Yeah,
are you gonna have a website too for Nova?
Yeah, I've got a website. So the business social media stuff is coming soon. I'll get onto that. But definitely, I have a website. You can go on and you can book novaphysio.com.au, and but all that sort of stuff is going to come. Like, this is only my first week, and I'm just still slowly. I'm still even building the furniture. That's how early on we are.
We're slowly getting there.
I've got
early stages.
I've got a set of shelves in the corner to build tomorrow. But yeah, man, we do need to catch up in person and get a steak too. So
absolutely, yeah, we can do that. Now that you're at Lutwich, easy peasy.
Yeah,
easy. Yep. Now I look forward.
Yeah, man,
all right, guys.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, anyways, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. See ya.